Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and back to my kitchen. In today's video, I am going to be making a Japanese style pancakes called souffle pancakes. And along with the souffle pancakes, I'm also making a berry compote because I love berry compote to go along with my pancakes every time I make it at home. Now I'm really excited about this recipe but equally nervous because I've done a lot of reading and research over the week and most of them said the first time could be a flop, so let's see how we go, alright? Before we get into the recipe, I just want to say a big hello and welcome all of my new subscribers this week. I really hope you enjoy this video and also don't forget to check out the rest of my videos too. Alright, are you ready to get started? Now before we get started on the pancakes, I'm going to make the berry compote because we want that to be ready when the pancakes are done so we're not waiting around, alright? So here is what you need. To make the berry compote, add 1.5 cups of mixed berries into a pot. In the summertime, you can make this with fresh berries, but right now it's about $9 a punnet, I think, so I'm not going to pay so much for it. So I always have frozen berries in my fridge and it's really handy to make this berry compote or smoothies or chia pudding. You know, it's always handy, so I love having frozen berries in our freezer. The other ingredients that I'll be adding to this pot is about a tablespoon of lemon juice, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. You can also add in 1/4 teaspoon of ginger powder, but I'm not adding it in this recipe. And then you also add in 1 teaspoon of raw sugar. I make this every single time I make pancakes and I always eyeball the quantity and it turns out just great. But if you need the recipe, I'll just put this on the side here so you can quickly copy it down. I'm just going to leave this on the stove and leave it on low heat. I'll cover it with a lid and we'll just let it boil down and it'll become this delicious syrupy berry compote. Okay, now that we've got the berry compote on the stove, it's going to do its thing and be nice and yummy and delicious in a little bit. Now let's get started on our souffle pancake batter. Now as you can see here, I've got really limited ingredients. They're really basic stuff that you can find in your pancakes. It's simply not hard to find, but there are a few technicalities involved. As you can see, I've got my little kitchen aid here, so it's going to do a little bit of the job for us to make that souffle part come through really well. So the ingredients are 2 large eggs. Make sure they are fresh. So I've got a couple of free-range size 8 eggs here. I've got a few tablespoons of just regular all-purpose flour. Some recipes use cake flour. You can try that, but I'm just going to stick with what I've got. Some milk, just regular milk, sugar, baking powder. I've got some vanilla extract, and finally we've got maple syrup, because let's be honest, what is pancakes without maple syrup, right? They go hand in hand. A really quick note about maple syrup: when you grab this from the supermarket shelf, make sure you flip it to the back and then check the ingredients. So the one that I've got here is a Pam's brand, so the New Zealand brand. Flipped it to the back and the ingredients is just pure Canadian maple syrup, so that's 100% inside this bottle. So if your maple syrup at home has a ton of different other ingredients, do know that it's not the real deal, so get rid of it. I know a lot of people might prefer to buy that because it's a little bit cheaper than this stuff, but get the real stuff because it's really important that we put the right things in our body. Alright, let's get started. So we begin by splitting up the yolks from the egg whites. We're going to first use up the yolks, so we're going to put the egg whites in the fridge until we get to that because we don't want it to be sitting in room temperature. Next, add in about 2 tablespoons of milk. whisk the egg yolks and the milk together. I don't know where our kids had put the whisk, so I just had to use a fork in this particular situation. And it took a little bit longer, but you know, just make sure you whisk it all up together. After which, I'm just going to mix the baking powder with the flour. So I'm just adding about a teaspoon of baking powder into 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. So I've just mixed it all up, and then I'm going to sift the flour into the bowl of the egg yolks and milk. Finally, I added in about a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then I mixed it all up together. Just having a quick look into our pot. The berry compote is coming up really well. I'm just going to let it sit so it can thicken up a little bit more, and then it will be ready. Time to pull out those egg whites from the fridge. I add all of it into the bowl, as you can see here, and then I'm going to let the KitchenAid do its thing. And while it's just whisking away, we're going to add the sugar bit by bit. Our goal is to get these egg whites whipped into a stiff consistency. It does take a little bit of time, so while this was going on, I was getting the rest of the stuff ready. I'm using about 2 tablespoons of regular white sugar in this recipe, and I was just adding it little by little till the egg whites reach that stiff consistency that I was after. The recommendation was to get the pan heated. I thought this was a really great idea, but I'll let you know later if it helped or not. The berry compote is definitely looking ready. So at this stage, I'll just turn it off. I'm just showing you the consistency here. Once you reach this consistency, turn it off and remove it from the heat. We have now reached the consistency we want with the egg whites as well. It needed to be nice and stiff, and that's what we have right here in this bowl. I've got to tell you, at this point when I was standing in the kitchen, I was actually quite happy that everything was going according to what we wanted and the recipe had not failed yet. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to take a little bit of the meringue here, and we're going to gently fold it into the egg yolk batter. We're not going to mix it too much, but we're going to slowly add it in parts into the bowl. It's now time to make these pancakes, so add a little oil to the pan and then wipe it down. Don't add butter to cook these pancakes. You can serve it with butter once it's done. So using a soup ladle or a large spoon, pour your batter onto the pan. I went with 1 ladle full, but looking back, I probably could have done 1.5 or even 2 ladles full so that I could have achieved the height that I would have liked for these souffle pancakes. So carefully pour the batter onto the pan. Next, we're going to cover it with a lid. Then we're going to give it about 30 seconds or so, sometimes probably even a minute, depending on the quantity of the batter that you've used. And then we're going to take the lid off and add about a couple of teaspoons of water. And then we cover it again with the lid. And then after 30 seconds, we're going to try flipping it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. This part is what you need to perfect to make these souffle pancakes. If you mess this step up, it definitely ruins the whole pancake. While the pancakes are cooking, make sure you get your fruit, compote, and your plate ready so that once the pancakes are done, everything is ready, because the pancakes do deflate once they're off from the heat, and we definitely have to work really fast. Alright, this was attempt 1. It was easy to flip, but as you can see, it was definitely a bit too brown. Okay, this is attempt 2, and let me tell you, I was really nervous because I didn't have a whole lot of batter left, but I managed to somehow flip it, and my husband was standing really close because he was recording and he was just trying to stay positive as well. But this color is definitely much better. I'm not really happy with the way I flipped it because I couldn't obviously retain the shape. Alright, we have successfully managed to cook those pancakes, and now it's time to plate it. Do you love plating your food? It was actually in university when my flatmates noticed that I plated my own food every single night for myself. And this is something that I still do, and I really enjoy doing it for our family, especially our kids. It just gives them that restaurant feel every single night. Alright, here are my thoughts on this recipe. I probably could have doubled the batter for each of the pancakes. As you can see, it deflates fast, so I'll definitely give that a try next time. Second, the low flame is the key. If the pan is too hot, it'll definitely burn. And number 3, these pancakes taste great, so I'll definitely make it again, especially for our kids. The day I made it, the kids were actually in school, and so this was just for Kingsley and I, and they didn't know that we made these pancakes. So alright guys, I would love to know if you're going to give this recipe a try, whether it's the pancakes or the berry compote. I really hope you enjoy making it, because I definitely had fun cooking this up for Kingsley and I think he was waiting in anticipation because he was the one behind this camera while I was cutting up these pancakes and eventually giving it a taste test. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give this video a like, and I definitely look forward to seeing you next week with a brand new video. It's going to be a Beula and Kingsley one. We're working on the content and I'm really excited about it, and I know you don't want to miss it. Alright, until I see you next Wednesday, have a great rest of the week and take care. Bye everybody!